going through the turnstile at 7:30, I thought it was going to be fantastic. And in reality, we waited 2 hours and that was painful.
Hey y'all, it's LJ here, owner and founder of Smart Moms Plan Disney and Smart Moms Travel. We are so glad you're here for another episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. Now, here's your host, Allie.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into another episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. It's Allie, and I'm here today with Stacy and Karla. I love recording with the two of you. I just feel like we've already been laughing before I even pushed record, and I'm so excited for this conversation today. How you guys doing?
Just full of sunshine like usual.
I was going to say, Allie, do you say that to all the girls on the podcast?
I don't know. I was feeling especially happy today, and then y'all didn't answer me, and I was like, I either froze on my Zoom or you don't agree and you're not having fun with me like I am you.
No, we are. We're just a bunch of dummies here for some fun.
Yeah, honestly, it could have been either. I was, as I always am, and I've mentioned, I'm kind of at the time we like to record, it's morning and I'm running from getting my kids out the door. And I feel like any single thing will just throw a wrench in that. So right now, my kids' elementary school is participating in this tech-free day. And my kids don't do a lot of tech anyway, because they're involved in a lot of activities and we're just on the go. And so even if they do have some tech in their life daily, it's pretty minimal. But right now we're just trying to find a stretch where, we don't even have 30 minutes of TV. Like I get why they're doing it, but it's just like a little bit of an added pressure and a little bit of a guilt trip. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, should that 30 minutes that my son watches TV a day, like, do I need to be now
reading to him?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, do I need to have a book in my hand while I'm driving and be reading it to him while we're getting to our activity?
Wait a second. So what's the stipulation of this tech-free day? Does this come home and you're supposed to play tech-free all day, or is this just at school? Because I'm fine with it being at school, but don't try to take the tablets away at home. No, I'm kidding, but that's terrible.
Yeah, it's just a ticket and it's just one day and that's great. And like I said, they don't have a lot anyway in their life. But I mean, my poor son last night, I walked in, I was teaching dance. I walked into his little room where he is, and I had reminded him before. I was like, hey, bud, like make sure you get out your Legos or something. Don't turn on the TV because you're trying to do your tech-free day. I walked in, he's watching TV. I was like, man, I thought you were doing tech-free. He starts crying. He forgot. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just like another layer that we maybe didn't need tonight.
Oh, well, I'm sure this was a decision made by young teachers and educators trying to really push the pendulum back towards a tech-free life for these kids. I really so appreciate the efforts. And I get to see it in my daughter and son-in-law, what they're doing with their children and really trying to keep low tech for the babies. And I feel like my generation started the tech life, like we were glued to the televisions and we were glued to the video games and our brains were melted early, and now we're 2 generations later and we just see where it's gone. So I really appreciate that there is a generation seeing that it's time to maybe take a little reverse. So good for those educators and good for you, Mom, for trying to make it work. I know it's tough, though. It's what, if nothing else, you just have it really pointed out how often you are using it, right? When you're trying to not, you realize, oh no, we actually are using it more than we realize. Like, can you listen to an audiobook in the car? Would that go against the rules?
I don't know. See, there are no rules other than it's just this tech-free ticket, which I don't know about an audiobook because there aren't really any rules. But I mean, for my kids, they're in first grade, so they're not listening to audiobooks anyway. They're reading to themselves. They love reading, actually, which has been great. Or I'm reading to them, and so we don't have to worry about that. But it's just been eye-opening, but they don't use a lot of tech. So I feel for the people that really do to get through this single day challenge.
I actually wish that somebody would assign us a tech-free day as adults.
Yeah.
And as moms.
I can do that for you. I can assign that to you.
Can we make it a national holiday? And then that way nobody's texting or calling.
Like the national Wi-Fi just goes off all day.
Didn't that happen?
I think that happened recently.
Didn't that happen?
In the world,
that was a really terrible day trying to buy Disney tickets. Don't you remember?
You couldn't even get gas.
Yeah, I remember.
That was wild times.
Yeah, we don't really want that.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, all that to say, my daughter took her tech-free ticket to school today, and my son, as we record this, he is working on it today. So to be determined at the end of that story, we'll see if he gets his ticket turned in. But He just has to remember not to turn on the TV. He loves to, as he says, watch something all the time. Can I watch something? All right.
So you say tech-free ticket, you're meaning that they've succeeded in a tech-free day and they turn this in to say, I made it.
I made it. I did it. I did the thing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do they get a personal pan pizza from Pizza Hut like we used to as children when we
For the
when the read?
reading.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Did you? Are you?
Yeah, I'm
Are you old enough to? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, to be continued on that story. But today we're going to talk about something we actually need tech for, big time. And it's another Lightning Lane Strategies episode. We're tackling Animal Kingdom, which I think is a pretty targeted conversation. We've talked at length about the different attractions or lack thereof and shows here at Animal Kingdom. And so I'm excited to dive in with our strategies for handling the new Lightning Lane system and why tech is actually really important in our lives because it's how we're going to succeed in tackling this strategy. We'll take a quick break and then we're going to dive in. This episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast is brought to you by BabyQuip, the #1 baby gear rental service across the US, Canada, and beyond. There is nothing more difficult for my family with 3 young kiddos than when we are traveling. We're just out of rhythm without our things. We just feel out of step and our kids feel off. It can make our vacation feel so much more stressful than it needs to. With a wide range of baby and toddler equipment available, including cribs, strollers, car seats, toys, and more, BabyQuip helps give us some of that normalcy that our kids crave and we need as parents when we are away from home. When they're happy, we're happy. And by using local quality providers that are often moms, dads, and grandparents just like us and you smarties that are listening today, BabyQuip makes sure that you are working with somebody who understands the needs of your family firsthand. If you need it, they have it. All products follow strict cleanliness and safety protocols and are also insured to give you that extra peace of mind that you need to really enjoy your vacation. With convenient delivery to your location, whether it's a home, a hotel, a vacation rental, wherever you're calling, home away from home, they've got you covered. BabyQuip is available in over 1,500 cities, making it accessible. So whether you're heading to Disney World, Disneyland, or another travel destination, BabyQuip will be there for you. With their easy-to-use online platform, you don't have to stress about getting your products. Head to babyquip.com. Use code SMPOD, that's SMPOD, to get $30 off of any order of $150 or more. That's babyquip.com. Pack light, travel happy. Okay, for those of you that haven't listened to a Lightning Lane Strategies episode before, let's review the terminology. We have our Lightning Lane Multipass. That is going to be the Lightning Lane option that you purchased that is going to give you access to the Lightning Lanes across all 4 Walt Disney World parks that are not in the single pass category. So anything that's covered in a Lightning Lane will be covered in the Multipass that you purchase. You don't purchase it for park hopping, you just buy Multipass. We'll talk a little bit about the pre-selects and how that works, but just know that the Multipass, that's the system that you are using for all of the general Lightning Lanes. You will purchase Multipass for the park you are going to be starting in, but you will have hopping access throughout your day after you start using the system. So if you're starting your day, as we are today at Animal Kingdom, you're probably going to be buying Lightning Lane Multipass for a lower cost. It's typically less expensive than some of the other parks. And then later through your day, as you start using your Lightning Lanes, if you do plan on park hopping, you'll be able to do that. Lightning Lane Single Pass will get you a one-time Lightning Lane use to the attraction that you purchased it for. Not every attraction is a Lightning Lane Single Pass, just select rides at each park. And for purposes of today's episode, Flight of Passage is the single pass attraction at Animal Kingdom. And then, of course, there are virtual queues. There are no virtual queues at Animal Kingdom, so we're not going to dive into that too much today. And we'll be talking about utilizing Rope Drop and the My Disney Experience app where you're going to buy all of these Lightning Lanes. What are your thoughts? Lightning Lane, Multipass, Single Pass, Animal Kingdom. You love it? You feel like maybe there are ways to strategize it better than others?
That there are 2 people that go to Animal Kingdom, right? And you have to figure out which of those 2 people you are and which of those 2 people, more importantly, your family is. If you have little ones, then you might not need to utilize the Lightning Lane Multipass. And you also might not need to utilize the rope dropping strategy, right? You're likely going to go to Animal Kingdom and it's going to be a leisurely day. You're going to see lots of shows. You're going to see animals. You're not going to be pining to get onto every ride. Opposite of that, you have older ones or kids wanting to ride all the big rides, the Everest, the Flight of Passage. And if you are that mom, then you definitely might want to strategize one of two things. You'll want to strategize buying the Lightning Lane Multipass and the Lightning Lane Single Pass, both of them together. And or I really feel like you can do one or the other at this park. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Do you need both?
When you were saying there are two types of people, I really thought you were going to go with, you bring up two good categories, but I thought your categories were going to be if you're going to take this as a all day leisurely park, or if you were going to take this as a park hopping, go quick, maybe have a shorter day kind of situation. I think there is an argument to be made if you're staying all day at this park and taking it leisurely, you can probably get by without purchasing much of anything and still get through it okay. I personally don't ever want to wait for anything. So to me, it's always worth having the Lightning Lane. If I get finished early at Animal Kingdom, fantastic. I either get to go back to my room early or I can go to another park or, something else. But, I guess if you were looking at the age ranges, like you're saying, if you have small children and you're just going to enjoy the day, I really think you can make an argument that you do not have to have Lightning Lane on this day. But I think we three agree it's always better to not have to wait.
Yeah, I think even if I'm taking a leisurely day, it's part of my plan not to have to wait in line. That like makes it feel a lot less leisurely, If I'm standing in line for an hour, I'm starting to get stressed and tense rather than have that leisure that I was looking for. And so I even on a leisure day would probably opt to get the lightning lanes for ease, convenience, happiness. But yes, this park doesn't have a ton of things going on. A lot of it is a visual intake. A lot of it is going to different animal watch points and things like that. When you are planning lightning lanes, as a reminder, you're starting your planning process 7 days out from check-in if you are staying on site, 3 days out from check-in if you are staying off site or just visiting if you're an annual pass holder without a resort reservation, then you get 3 days. So staying on site with lightning lanes, huge perk because you're getting that 7-day window. And in a park like Animal Kingdom, there aren't a lot of rides to choose from, a lot of attractions to choose from. So a lot of those prime picks are probably going early in that 7-day window because it's not a spread out variety, if that makes sense. So you're starting 7 days out. The multipass and Lightning Lane system has its groups. We've talked about this on our Lightning Lane strategies episode, as well as the Magic Kingdom episode that we did, where we talked about Lightning Lane. And the groups are how you make your pre-selects. Something interesting about Animal Kingdom, it only has one group. So group 1 is usually with the multipass system. You can only pick one attraction out of that group, and then the rest of your pre-selects have to come out of this group 2. Animal Kingdom only has attractions in group 2. And so it makes it a little easier because you don't have to, you can just grab the 3 things that are your top 3 priorities for the day. Because with the multipass system, you get to pick 3 lightning lanes ahead of travel per day. So if I'm looking at my Animal Kingdom day, 7 days before check-in, I get to just pick any 3 things I want without worrying at all about groups, which is really unique only to this park, takes a lot of the stress away, and makes it a little bit easier to strategize. Do you all agree that the group system is sort of what makes it like the most stressful in other parks? Because you're having to like Sophie's Choice, one of the attractions.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it speaks volumes on Animal Kingdom as a park that everything's just grouped together. Flight of Passage being arguably probably one of the best rides in Walt Disney World is separated for a reason, right? Because it is the most popular ride at that park. To see that basically the other 5 big attractions at that park are just all grouped together and you're guaranteed to ride 3 of them before you even get to the park is pretty awesome. So that makes the investment definitely well worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think this park is great for this system because we just spent a lot of time saying like, oh, you may not need it. But at the same time, because everything is grouped together, it makes it really easy. I can't imagine not being able to very easily see and do every single thing in this park without any worry when you have lightning lanes. So let's just talk about what's in group 2. You're going to be looking at currently Dinosaur, which is going to be closing soon. So that's for a limited time based on when you're listening to this episode. as we record it and as the park is operating right now, Dinosaur is still open, but we have confirmation that that's going to be closing. Expedition Everest, Feathered Friends in Flight, the Festival of the Lion King, Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond, It's Tough to Be a Bug, Cali River Rapids, Kilimanjaro Safaris, and the Navi River Journey. All those shows, one closing attraction and a water ride you might not want to ride. So in this group 2 list of everything I just said, there are 4 shows, 1 attraction that's closing, and 1 water ride that you might not want to ride year round. So you can very easily and quickly see why they didn't make 2 groups at this park, because, the only things you would separate out of there, you would probably put the Safari and Everest in group 1, but that's the only 2 big attractions at all. And so it makes a lot of sense. I would say to just keep them all together. And I'm glad that somebody making choices at Disney made that one.
Agreed.
So that helps us then think about the strategy. When you make the choice and you commit to using Multipass at Animal Kingdom, 7 days before check-in if you are an on-site guest, and we're just going to approach this conversation as though you are an on-site guest, but of course, if you're an off-site guest, remember it's 3 days for you. So 7 days before check-in, you're going to make your pre-selects. You get 3 rides. You get 3 attractions or shows that you get to stock a Lightning Lane for. And you can buy the single pass. They're 2 separate things. So I want to start the conversation with Flight of Passage. Back when Genie Plus was a thing, we talked about this and how we would tackle Flight of Passage. What is your stance, the 2 of you, on do you buy the single pass or do you rope drop when it comes to Flight of Passage? Because it is not included in the multi-pass system. You have to either buy the single pass or stand in the standby queue.
My goal would be to very strategically rope drop. Make sure that I'm at the beginning of the lines, getting there in plenty of time so that I'm not near the back of the rope drop group. Because of the popularity of this ride, I almost would even say 95% of the people there for rope drop are there for that ride. So it is going to be where the entire crowd is headed that way. So if you're the front of that, you're great. You're golden. You can ride it and you did not have to pay for it. If you are near the back of it, it could easily be that you're there still entering at the 7:30 a.m. or so and still have to wait an hour. So it's a gamble, which do you want to do? Do you feel good about the fact that you can get there early and be near the front? Or do you know that that might not happen for you and that you need to just go ahead and make the purchase and take that stress out of your day?
Yeah, I totally agree with your strategy, Stacy. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm in my rope drop era. And now that I've really figured out how to do it right and to get at the front of that line, it makes all the difference in the world. And I know Allie is probably going to say she wants to buy the individual Lightning Lane because, as we talked about in one of our other episodes, she's in her Magic Kingdom era, even though she doesn't want to admit it. So she spends all morning braiding and doing makeup and the cute outfits and stuff. And here I am like schlepping on whatever these days, booking it an hour before the park opens to get in the front of that line because I have made the mistake, I think a couple of times where I thought because I was literally walking through the turnstile at the early entry time, which was probably like 7:30, when I was going through the turnstile at 7:30, I thought that it was going to be fantastic and I was going to get to rope drop Flight of Passage. And in reality, I think we waited 2 hours to ride it.
Yep.
And that was painful.
Yeah, I think the answer here is, first of all, my family sucks at rope dropping. Okay, that's just the reality. We are not good at it. I am so good at planning Disney. Okay, I have a lot of knowledge. I'm terrible at getting to that park at the right time. Like it never fails. I think the right answer is if you're not me and you're a family that can rope drop and get there, you guys are right. Save this money. This is an easy save because you can rope drop it. You do need to get there earlier, just as you both said. But even if I've told the story here on the podcast before about when I took my dance studio to Animal Kingdom and we tried to rope drop and get in line and we still ended up waiting an hour. Even still, we waited an hour at rope drop, rode it, and then still had the whole day ahead of us. So like we drank coffee and chatted in line. The day had barely started. My kids were eating granola bars or whatever. And it was fine. And waiting at that time and in that queue specifically, it wasn't that big of a deal. So if you're okay with that, a long wait at the beginning or getting there early enough to avoid the long wait altogether, I would never pay for a single pass for this ride if I was going to the park first thing. The only way I would buy the single pass for this ride is if I knew I wasn't going to Animal Kingdom until a little later. If I wasn't planning on getting there until a little later in the morning or even in the afternoon, then I would definitely buy it. But if I was going in the morning at all, I'm not buying it.
You know what I just thought about is this is the only park, and Stacy just mentioned like 95%. I would probably even up that to like 99%. If you are there for rope drop, 99% of the people are going to this one ride, whereas other parks, it's normally split. You know, Magic Kingdom, they're going a couple of places, Hollywood Studios, a couple of places. Everybody's being dispersed, right? Everybody is going to this one ride. What's the saying? Like, if you're not first, you're last.
Mhm.
And that last is going to cost you big time. So literally, if you don't get in line, if you're not going through security an hour before that early entry starts, or 45 minutes before earlier entry starts, you might as well get on your phone and your app and buy the individual Lightning Lane, because it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, the single pass is going to be important at that point. And you're right. I agree with upping that because I agree that's where everybody's going. The only alternative, I mean,
Is Dinosaur. No, it's not.
it's Expedition
No.
Everest. And later in the day, Expedition Everest has a single rider line. So it's not a good strategy to do that. Yeah, this is where everybody's going. So I think that's our official stance here. If you're rope dropping,
Even though it's tough to be a bug is an option.
yeah, it's a hard to pass that one up. So I think our official stance is buy the single pass if you're not going until later, but plan to rope drop this bad boy right away and try to save that money because there are other single passes that are going to be of greater value to you on your vacation than this one. And then it's 7 days prior still. You're kind of determining for your family if it makes sense for that single pass. The only other thing I would say for Lightning Lane single pass on Flight of Passage, if you wanted to ride it twice, it might be a good idea to buy that single pass, like to rope drop in the morning and strategically and intentionally buy a single pass for evening so that you can be in Pandora at night and see everything glowing and lit up because the Pandora really transforms. And so if you have the opportunity to intentionally buy a single pass for the evening and return to Pandora at night and give it a second ride, because who doesn't want to ride it twice, then I can really see a good strategy and argument for purchasing a single pass in that case. It becomes less about money and more about an experience that you really want. And then for those people, I think it makes a lot of sense.
If you're at Animal Kingdom in the summer, is it getting dark in the summer at closing time? I kind of wonder if there's not very much time to even see it lit up at night in the summer. I feel like winter hours.
Yeah, you're right. It's getting dark around 8. So very seldom is the park open that late, right? It's normally closing at 6 or 7. And in the winter time is when you could strategize to see it at night. That's when the sun's going down 4:30, 5 o'clock. So I think if you really wanted to strategize that and you really were a planner, then you would plan to go in the winter time when you can see it at night.
Yeah, checking your park hours is a whole part of this conversation when you're thinking about that. So then you're looking at your multi-pass and you get 3 pre-selects and they can come from anywhere. They don't have to be in any certain group because there's only one group. Our recommendations are going to be what here? So definitely Kilimanjaro Safari. I would say that's the no-brainer, right? Everybody goes to Animal Kingdom to ride the safari. What about Navi River? Is that another one you would prioritize in your pre-selects?
Absolutely. Navi River and then Everest. I think those are the 3. And I know Stacy mentioned this, I think in our Magic Kingdom episode, of really kind of looking the map and getting a grasp of what, each park looks like. And for some reason, this park seems more doable than some of the other parks, in that I think because there are so little attractions that you can really kind of map out your day and go in a full circle. And in order to do that, you would really have to strategize your multi-pass selections. That being, Navi River journey first, Kilimanjaro Safari second, and then Everest third. And that's just going in that natural progression around the park, right?
Yeah, and I was gonna say the only thing I would swap there maybe for consideration would be to swap Everest for the Festival of the Lion King, only because if you're following that natural pattern, the Festival of the Lion King is sort of over there still by Safari. You could catch an early show. People don't realize how long the line gets for that. So it's not a waste for that show specifically to really make sure you're going to get in there and get a good seat for the show you want. And I do feel like Everest will still be available later in the day if you prioritize Navi River to ride after your rope drop flight of passage. Then probably it's going to be Kilimanjaro Safari and then that early show of the Festival of the Lion King. And if you have time, maybe you're even getting a character breakfast at Tusker House. So really prioritizing that left side of the park in the morning. I think Everest will still be available. Or, of course, we talked about single rider, and there are other options that you can do there. So I think your swing option is Everest or Lion King. Right, but you're definitely doing Navi and Safari.
And remember, as soon as you use one, you get one. So if you check into Navi River early in the day, which hopefully you do, you can go in and grab either Lion King and kind of stagger it to where it's very close to your Kilimanjaro Safari, because otherwise when you do your pre-selections, they are an hour apart from one another. And that's not terrible because you want to explore that area and you want to give yourself time to do that. So you're really going to want to pick either, like you said, Lion King or Everest at that point.
The whole concept of that picking early times. That's what we try to teach for whatever park we're in. As soon as you can get it done, and you have an hour window, right? So, like, you might pick a 9 o'clock Everest, but you actually have until 10 to go swipe in and use it. And whenever you swipe in is when you can get the next one. So, the earlier you do those things, the better you are for getting in more choices later. But you do need to look at your show schedules for things like the Lion King. I always enjoy having that very first show of the day, and it's going to probably be around 10. So that might be a reason that you would go do the Kilimanjaro safaris, because Lion King may not be open yet. So you might have to a little backtrack there. But that leisurely visit into this park is what's so great, right? We talked about
Right.
that with when you talk about having your breakfast and your, even if you don't have a Tusker House reservation, you still can find some nice coffee and breakfast foods around there.
You know what I wonder after hearing you explain, how we always have strategized getting all those selections early in the day. I almost wonder if you stagger your times with this specific park, you get that Navi River journey super early, but then you don't get your Kilimanjaro until almost like 11, just to give yourself time to really explore Pandora and then start your exploration of Africa, because that's going to be the next land that you're going to. And then maybe a couple hours later, you even do your third, because after that first selection, you can get that fourth attraction that you're missing at that point, right? But then there's not that many other attractions. And then the rest of your selections are going to be shows. So I almost think that's kind of the way to go with Animal Kingdom pre-selections.
Yeah, it's a great point because I was getting stressed thinking about talking through this morning as we have been and running, because lightning lanes can sometimes make you feel like you're running, run from this attraction to this one and get my next one. And that is not the vibe you want at Animal Kingdom. So I almost think, based on our conversation, your perfect morning is rope drop flight of passage, have a pre-select right away for Navi River, have a pre-select for, as you said, Karla, Safari, but a little later, because you're going to want to walk around and bang the drum in Pandora and see the floating trees and take your time and not run. Tusker House, I think, is one of the most underrated character meals on property. Listen back to our character meal episodes to know my thoughts on that. It's the food and the character interactions are great. I think it's a wonderful park to have that in. So slow down, see Lion King. I mean, you can have a great character meal, 2 Pandora rides, a safari, and a show in the Lion King, all finished by like 11:30 a.m. And you've done it in a relaxing way. That feels like a great strategy. And then, yeah, you're going to be able to get Everest. You're going to be able to get the water ride that I don't like.
And we haven't brought up yet the Rafiki Planet Watch, where you can hop on the train and go back and do the animation, which, Allie, we still have to get you to do.
Yeah. You know what? We're going to take another quick break. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about how to put these lightning lane strategies to use and find some of those other hidden gems like Stacy was mentioning in Animal Kingdom. This episode of the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast is brought to you by Nannyland. Traveling to Disney with your kids and seeing all the magic through their eyes is literally one of the greatest vacation memories you can have. As much fun as Disney is with your kids, it can be tiring and stressful on us adults. Here on the pod, we talk about how the resort is for you, but the truth is that so much more at Disney World than the resort can be for you. Nannyland helps make that truth your reality. They are the nannies of Disney that make your vacation yours in every way. Maybe you need help in the parks or want to ride something that your kids aren't quite ready for, or maybe you just want a date night with your spouse. Whatever it is, Nannyland has you covered. Being a mom without a break on vacation can be so overwhelming, and with the help of Nannyland, you can be your best after a break. They are the world's only agency that specializes specifically in Disney. You don't even have to worry about paying to get your nanny in to enjoy the parks with you. The nannies get themselves into the parks, making it even more affordable than other things at Disney. Book today and use code SMARTMOMS, that's one word, to get an extra free hour of nanny service when booking 6 hours or more. Okay, let's put our lightning lanes to use. I feel like we really drew a perfect picture of what your pre-selects are and why. So please, if you are listening and you're using this system, use our strategy. And then you know what? Find us in our Facebook group and tell us that you used it and why it was amazing and made your day great. Or if there was a hiccup, we'd like to know that too. But remember, there is no virtual queue at Animal Kingdom, which is great because if you want to truly rope drop, you have to start moving so early. So not having to worry about a 7 a.m. virtual queue at Animal Kingdom is great. So you're just going to get up super early and you're going to get to that park an hour before opening and rope drop so that you're, like Karla said, getting through that security early.
Yeah, like I said, for the Magic Kingdom episode, you're not going to diddle. You're not going to take your pictures by the tree. You have all day for that. You're going to book it there. You're going to walk swiftly, not run. They are going to hold you at the Pandora Bridge, more than likely. Again, you want to be as close to that rope as possible. And then from there, they're going to snake you around this queue. Nobody's going to be in it, right? But they know the amount of people that are headed in the same direction. And you're going to snake around. You're going to go right into the queue. You are going to ride it. Probably, even if there's a ton of people in front of you, you're likely to ride this within 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, hopefully, unless you are terrible at rope dropping like I am.
And by the way, if this is your first time in Pandora, it is absolutely beautiful. And your jaw is going to drop when you see certain formations that are in this land, certain things, right? This is not the time for your jaw to drop. You have to stay focused.
Yeah.
There is time for that later. So just trust us on this. Just keep going. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah, this is, don't stop and take a picture with anything that floats. Do nothing. Just get in that queue.
No beating on the drum.
No, absolutely not. Get in there. And then when you come out, because you're going to have such good strategies with your lightning lanes and such, then you can explore. And we urge you to do so, but not before you get in line for a flight of passage. You start in Pandora, as we said. I think that, I mean, obviously that's where you have to start if you're early entry, but regardless, whenever you're getting to the park, it's a great place to start because the flow is so nice. But those on-site guests are getting that 30-minute early. But don't you all agree that you get in earlier than 30 minutes? I mean, that security line starts, what do you think? 45, an hour before? I mean,
yeah, I would say 45 minutes.
Yeah,
you need to go through security, and security is still a walk a ways from the turnstiles when you're actually going to enter the park, but
yeah,
definitely be there 45 minutes to an hour ahead of time.
And here's a pro tip for you. If you have sunglass cases or external batteries in your bag, go ahead and take those out, hold them in your hand far in front of you and walk through the security with those in your hand, because chances are they're going to make it go off. But if they're in your hand, they'll just let you keep walking. If they're in your bag, you're going over to bag check. And then that's precious time that you're going to be waiting in flight of passage.
That's when you leave family members behind.
Absolutely. That's when I didn't leave a friend behind and ended up with that hour-and-a-half wait. And literally that's what happened. Like, she had her bag checked and it was a 90-minute wait then. It was terrible. After you rope drop, you're going to use your Navi River Lightning Lane, explore Pandora. We kind of already talked through this morning. Maybe you have a Tusker House. You've got a safari, probably a Lion King early show Lightning Lane. And then you're going to grab, for this purpose of this day, it's going to be Expedition Everest.
Yeah, and you're going to want to do that later, because from Africa, you're going to head into, what is it, Gorilla Falls. You're going to explore that whole area back there. there's so much to see.
There's 2 trails.
Yeah, and I think this is a good time after you've done the safari and you've checked off so many amazing things to do what Stacy was talking about, and that's head to Rafiki's Planet Watch. And you probably have a really good hour or so in your day that you can afford to give to taking the train, going out there, doing the drawing class, and really experiencing something really special.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big hidden gem. I, for the longest time, didn't even know that existed. And the train ride is pretty cool too. You kind of go back and you see some of where the animals, some of the habitats or cages, I don't want to call them cages because they're really not cages, but basically where they house the animals, I'm assuming at night. And it's pretty cool to see. And then at the end of that, I'm going to call it a petting zoo.
Yeah.
And then it's this experience where you get to learn to draw a character, which is really neat.
Now, this area will not open right at the same time as everything else. On a regular park hour day, it's maybe 8 a.m. The conservation station is what you'll look up in your app. It won't open till like 9:30. So it's not an immediate thing first thing, but after you've done your other things, it should be open.
Yeah, I'm thinking it fits perfectly after those first 3 rides and even a breakfast. You hop on that train. And would you all say that drawing class and the train to Rafiki Planet Watch is a must do over some of the Lightning Lane attractions that are still left as options for us?
If you're referring to it's tough to be a bug or dinosaur, then yes, that's because I have the biggest fear of dinosaur.
Okay, dinosaur rocks. Dinosaur rocks.
Well, it rocks so well that it's closing. So there you go.
Yeah. If it wasn't closing, I would say you could probably skip it. But now I have this little bit of like, oh, it's fixed to be gone forever. Like you have to ride it. Everybody needs to have ridden it once. So I am now telling everybody, yes, you definitely need to go do dinosaur. If it's still open, go do it before it's gone.
If for no other reason than to tell me if I'm right or if Karla's right. Does dinosaur rocker is it or Stacy right and skippable? But you wouldn't do that now anyway because it's all the way on the other side of the park. So yeah, what are the must-dos in Animal Kingdom? Like we already talked about the left side of the park and all of that. Expedition Everest. Everything else is sort of I think Finding Nemo falls in that category, but it's really on the opposite side of the park. And so I think at that point, after you've ridden Everest or after you've scanned in for one of your early 3 Lightning Lanes, you just grab one of the later shows for Finding Nemo.
Now, you were asking, do you think Conservation Station and the art class are must-dos? I do. I think they're so great. And particularly when you have a day like today, it's not as rushed. You absolutely just need to go and enjoy this type of setting. It's so fun. It's an air-conditioned building. I mean, there's so many things about it that are nice, and it's such a good stop. And I just think it's a great souvenir, free souvenir of a good time.
Yeah.
Speaking of free souvenirs, included experiences, I think that if you have little ones, that Wilderness Explorers is a must do at Animal Kingdom. And it's the scavenger hunt. I know we've talked about it before. You talk to different cast members from all over the world that tells you about either the place that they live or that you're in, or a specific type of animal or insect. It's just really cool. It's just one of those things that makes Animal Kingdom what it is. You're there to learn, and it's like I said, if you have little ones, that it's a must do.
Yeah,
I agree.
absolutely. So I mean, you guys, I want to live this Animal Kingdom day.
I know. I've been jonesing to go to Animal Kingdom, and I think I told you guys that the other day, and you're like, what? And I was like, yeah, I normally just go once a year, but I feel like now that the weather's cooling down in Florida, I've just really been wanting to go and experience all that Animal Kingdom has to offer.
If you're a Floridian, I really feel like Animal Kingdom is a great fall park. That's where you want to go in the fall and like be in the nature and stuff like that. Cause you guys don't get that vibe most of the time.
Yeah, we really don't. All the parks are really great fall parks.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of reminders because we've really talked about good strategy, how to put it to use. And now literally I want to live this day. It sounds phenomenal. Couple reminders. If you are park hopping, after you scan into that first attraction, at that time is when you can start thinking forward and grabbing selections for your next park. And so for some of you that are only doing morning in Animal Kingdom, it's smart to start grabbing early times where you're going. But if you are doing a full day at Animal Kingdom and you're planning on using Lightning Lane Multipass only there, it's important to remember, keep 3 Lightning Lanes stacked in your app at all times. Actually, even if you're hopping, always make sure you have 3. If you don't have 3 in there, you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Unless you've used up all the attractions that are possible, because you can only experience each ride or show or attraction one time through the Lightning Lane. You cannot get the same Lightning Lane more than once. You can't ride it again that way. You'd have to go stand by queue if you were trying to ride something again. And if you want more specific tips on Lightning Lane, you can listen to our Lightning Lane experience episode. We talked a lot about this in depth, how it works with park hopping, how all of these sort of kind of go together when you're looking at multi-pass and single pass. So make sure to give that a listen and maybe join our Patreon. When you join our Patreon, you get that more in-depth dig into the topics that we're talking about here. And beyond that, you're really helping us as a podcast. You know, we are just literally 5 friends on this podcast, hosting this podcast. And we have 2 other awesome behind the scenes members of our team. And among us, we're just Disney loving moms. And so we would love for you to join our Patreon community to help just support us, support the pod, and get more information. You're going to get great value out of it, especially if you love Disney.
You know, something we haven't really mentioned, another good reason to use this Lightning Lane system is if we're saving time in our lines for the attractions, guess what lines there are no lightning lanes for, and you're going to be in them for a while if you want to do them, is characters. We have not mentioned characters very much here, and there are a lot of really great ones to go see. There is a Mickey Minnie that is so cute in their safari outfits. They're so adorable. You can see Moana here. She's also at Epcot, so that's a couple of places now that she'll be in and out of. But the lines for characters can be long. So if you're using Lightning Lane for your attractions, then you don't feel quite so stressed out when you're standing in line for a character.
You know what else are the live entertainers that are around the park?
Mm.
What is the green lady on stilts? Ivy. What's her name? Divine. And
She's so
then
cool.
the bird from Up, which is what, Kevin?
Kevin.
So
Yes.
always keep your eyes out. Are the flotillas still going down the river?
Think the drummers still go. The characters are not still on the flotillas, but there is a flotilla going by with drummers on it still.
I would be so bold as to say, I think a
Yeah.
character could pop up on a flotilla. Right? Like that could happen.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Pocahontas.
Yeah, those are so fun. And Miko used to be on there. I mean, like, it's a cool park for random characters. And Donald is dressed up as a dinosaur in Dinoland right now, which I guess that's going to go away. He's like ready to party as a dinosaur. And for any smart moms travel agents listening today, our hidden Mickey will be party, because Donald is like such a party out there.
You know what else my kids really loved when they were smaller was the Boneyard play area. It's kind of like this giant cage, has a soft floor, a little bit of shade, little slides. You know, my kids loved that. And right outside of that was a little tiny bar where you could get like sangria or a beer or something. And we would just go in and sit on the floor and let the kids play.
Yeah. That bar is still there and it's amazing. One of my favorite places to get a drink at Disney. It's a little hidden gem, but it's all going to go away.
But I think it's going away too.
Yeah. It's all going away.
I think the Boneyard is going to be one of the last things to go away. And, you know, so that you'll have it for a little while, but I hope that they'll have some sort of iteration of that when it's reopened, because it is such a cool place for kids to play around. We've complained about it before, like the old Honey, I Shrunk the Kids way back in the day. I don't want to have another playground that we miss. I think this is a great one.
Yeah.
I will never have any remorse about Dinosaur going away, and or the Primeval World. Do you guys remember that ride?
Yeah, I never rode that.
Yeah.
I never rode it, but I heard horror
It
stories.
was so weird.
It was chaotic.
Yeah.
It was weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought Triceratops Spin, though, is very cute. And that's another Dumbo type ride. It is over there. You can rope drop it. It's so cute. I think I'll miss that too. Not for anything
Come
other than
on.
nostalgia.
No,
Look.
Close your eyes. Close your
It's
eyes
cute.
when you're on Dumbo.
Yeah.
No,
Pretend
it's
like
so
you're in a
cute.
Triceratops.
Good memories with my babies over there. Very good memories. I'll miss it.
That ride sucks. It's not good.
Well,
Stacy's gonna take that out.
tell that to my babies.
Seriously though, we've been talking about stuff that's going away, but that's just all the more reason to get there, experience it before it does. And I'm excited for what's to come in this park. And gosh, if you listen back to early episodes of this podcast, Karla and I specifically have seriously grown so much when it comes to
Look at us.
we have, because we were so anti Animal Kingdom, and now I have grown up And I have grown into an appreciation for this park in a new way. And I'm happy to say that. We're going to tap into our Friend Like Me segment here, where just take a quick listen to some of our awesome Smart Moms travel agent friends, some of the places that you might be able to follow them. You're already scrolling your phone anyway. We know that. They're going to have some extra Disney magic and ideas to drop right into your feed. And we'll be right back. Planning a family vacation can feel super overwhelming. And while you're at home and overwhelmed, you're probably scrolling Facebook. If you're that Facebook scrolling mom, you should find our friend Smart Moms Travel with Erin Hedlund. That's Hedlund, where she is giving pro mom tips, real advice about being in parks, traveling on cruise ships, and personalized planning that's going to make your family vacations memorable and seamless. She has such a wide variety of travel locations and destinations she's talking about daily from one mom to another. Give our friend Erin a follow. Imagine a trip where every generation from the youngest to the oldest experience the Disney magic together. Our friend can be found at Smart Moms Travel with Jenny Baldwin on Facebook, where she is helping with so many tips and tricks, fitting in the nap for the littlest ones, figuring out that stroller rental, the mobility options, and some of the best snacks and dining that will please all of the generations. She's a mom of 4 little ones, so she knows how to make a trip relaxing and enjoyable for all. Find her at Smart Moms Travel with Jenny Baldwin on Facebook. I hope that you all just stopped what you were doing and followed those friends of ours, because they're so fun. Those Facebook groups and Instagrams that we're talking about here on the show are really a great place to have in your feed and just sprinkle that extra Disney magic into your life every single day. And while you're stopping and doing extra things, why don't you leave us a review wherever you're listening? Recently, Meg Revels said, Smart Moms podcasts are so informative, and it's a great way to get ready for your Disney trip. You will feel like a pro listening to this podcast. We love to read the reviews, and we would so appreciate it if you would leave one for us here. And why don't you rate us 5 stars? Only 5 stars. 5-star reviews help us so much in continuing to bring this content to you. So do that, and we will be so grateful. All right, you two. Last time we did Lightning Lanes, y'all lied, and then I caught you in a lie saying that I said something wrong. And so we're going to go through. I'm going to say all the right words, and you're going to give all the fast answers. Before we do, though, I actually have a question for you. Because there are no nighttime shows at Animal Kingdom, what do you do with your night? Do you hop and watch fireworks somewhere else? Do you go back to your resort and swim? Is that the night you go to Disney Springs? Like, what do you do?
Pick me.
Karla?
I am going to my dining reservation at Sanaa at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's a beautiful place to see, even if you're not staying there. It's one of my favorite restaurants. I've talked about this a gazillion times. Go during sunset, you'll see animals. After dinner, walk out to the fire pit area, and then you're in the savannah area. That's what I'm doing. What are you doing, Stace?
We usually will take this as very much a break night. We go back to a room, take it easy, head to bed a little earlier that night. We don't usually push through, but I also like to park hop too. So, and that's what we're going to be doing next month when I do this. So I've done a little bit of both, but I would say when it's my whole big family, especially when they were younger, we were taking this as an early night to enjoy.
If I have a park hopper, we're going to watch fireworks probably at Magic Kingdom, because I can just never see that show enough. But without the park hopper, we're going back to our resort, I would say, and swimming or doing resort dining. Definitely. But Karla, I love your idea. Sanaa is just one of those places, like, you got to go to Sanaa. Every single time we talk about this restaurant, I want that butter chicken so much. It's so good. The bread service. Oh my gosh. Okay. Are you ready for the Lightning Lane?
Ready?
You know I am.
We're going to go Karla, then Stacy for every answer to clear up any confusion. Are you ready?
Yep.
Best ride during golden hour?
Safari. Kilimanjaro Safari.
I'll say Expedition Everest.
Okay, best place to take a picture with the Tree of Life?
I'm going front and center, but not during rope drop.
Never during rope drop. I have a better answer. In the very back side of the tree, there are areas where you can go in against a railing that there's no other people in your photo. That's where you get your Tree of Life photo.
Yeah, I have so many good pictures in the back side of the tree in that very spot you're talking about. Best hidden gem at Animal Kingdom? I'm going to say the bar in Dino Land.
I am going to say the bird show because I love it.
That is really great.
Feathered friends in flight.
I will say
Tick tock, tick tock, tick
I'm
tock,
editing this.
tick
It'll be
tock.
just fine. I will say
No, do not edit it. I want all this. I want all this in there, even this banter right here.
I don't like y'all calling me out for being a slowpoke. I would go to the animation station or whatever it's called. What is it called?
Rafiki's Planet
What's
Watch.
the animation called? No, what's the animation? There's a word for it.
Oh, Lord, this just got so out of
Okay.
hand.
All right, I'm moving on. Best quick service and table service at Animal Kingdom.
I'm going Satula. Man, I just thought of my hidden gem should have been Nomad, even though that's not really
I
a
don't think
hidden
that's
gem
hidden.
anymore.
You can't really get
Can
on.
I retract?
No, you can't. It's,
Okay,
it's
I
not
hope.
hit. It's not hidden because the wait list is always so long. You have to go there that's not hit.
Okay,
Every
focus.
list.
I'm gonna focus.
Yeah.
Okay, Satuli Canteen, not in the heartbeat of the park, but in Pandora. And I'm gonna go Yak and Yeti.
You're gonna be so mad at me. What's the question?
I was gonna say you better not say Pizza Fari.
Best
No, what's the question? Quick service?
and table service. And I want you to leave that in too. I need our listeners to know
What we're dealing with.
quick service and table service. Yeah.
I was looking up. It's actually the animation experience. That's what it's called. Okay. It's my quick service is Flame Tree. I love Flame Tree barbecue.
This is so good.
And for table service, it is Tusker House breakfast. That is my favorite.
This is such a hard question because I would just want to be like, oh, all your answers are right because they are, because all the food here is so good. But I would say Yak and Yeti quick service and Tusker House breakfast. I agree with you, table. Which land are you spending most of your time in at Animal Kingdom?
That's hard. I think Africa, because there's so much to do over there.
You might say it's the heartbeat of the park.
It is the heartbeat of the park.
It's so tempting to say Pandora, but I don't think it's true. I don't think I'm actually spending that much time. It's really beautiful. I'm taking photos, but I'm probably spending.
Just say I'm right.
Okay, it's not Africa though. It's going to be more like.
It is because you're going to have your
I don't have an
Tusker
answer
House
for this.
reservation. You're going to be on Kilimanjaro Safari. You're going to get your corn and your kebabs. You're going to go see the gorillas. You're going to go see the animals. I am right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I just needed that help. You're right.
All right. Favorite photo pass location?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I would say I thought the question was actually supposed to be like, where are you getting a selfie at? And I'm gonna make that my question because I don't do PhotoPass. I'm going to have my selfie in front with the gorillas because I think that's super cool.
What gorilla?
Over there in Gorilla Falls, the gorillas.
Okay.
What gorilla? Have you ever seen the
You
gorillas?
said in the front, though. You said in the front.
Well, with them in the background, but they seem so close to
Oh.
you. And there's no glass separating you, right? Because they have that, that ditch there. This is the longest lightning lane ever.
Oh my goodness.
Have we ever been to Animal Kingdom? They do have gorillas.
That's not the point. It was her saying in the front that threw me off. That's what threw me off. I'm like, where
In
is
front of the
in
gorillas?
In front of the gorilla.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I want no
With the
edits.
gorilla,
so
as part of my family.
I want no edits on this lightning lane at all. Okay, and what is your most valuable time of day at Animal Kingdom?
Wait,
you want to know about my memory maker?
Wait,
Oh.
not really. Go ahead.
I do actually.
I don't have a favorite memory maker, but I am going to call out a really terrible PhotoPass spot. And I don't even know how to describe exactly where it is, but it's there. You'll see a photographer standing there and it's up against a wall. And it is literally a really odd looking graffiti of Mickey Mouse. And that is your backdrop. I don't like that one. I'm just going to say that.
That wall is famous. That wall is famous.
Yeah,
I know.
What are you talking about, Stacy? Like,
I know it's
people
famous.
are posing in front of the bubblegum wall. That's way cooler than the bubblegum wall.
The Animal Kingdom Mickey is like iconic.
Or purple wall. At least this one has Mickey Mouse.
Y'all are weird. I also think standing in front of those walls are weird. Just sorry, Becky. I know it's a thing.
Well, what's the most valuable time of the day? Rope drop, midday, or closed?
Rope drop. Come on, Stacy, do one fast. There's only, come on.
Rope drop. Rope drop.
Thank you.
I think we really nailed it with this park. We covered it top to bottom, morning to night, open to close. And now I want to live this day and I want to eat this food. I'm starving. My milk is expired, so I can't go have cereal. And I want to go to Animal Kingdom. I love it. And that's a huge 360 for me. I had so much fun with you girls today. If you liked this episode, you should take a listen to some of our other Lightning Lane Itinerary episodes. And our food episode, we did a quick service dining episode about Animal Kingdom. You might find that a great companion to listen to for this, so you know how to sprinkle your meals in for the day, because the food here is just...
Table service is coming up soon.
Table service is coming up soon. We love to cover the food at Animal Kingdom. Dare I say that it's the best foodie park over Epcot? I don't know if it's earned that title yet, but gosh, maybe close.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us this time on the Smart Moms Plan Disney podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, we'll see you real soon.
Karla, what is the name of our ad segment for the agents? What's the name of it?
Friends like me. What does Allie say? Friends like me? Is that what she's saying? Friend like me.
Friend like me. Yeah.
Do you know what it was for 2 weeks in a row? Our very first 2 weeks.
What was it?
You've got a friend in me.
Well, I apparently thought that too, because that's what I put at the bottom of the marketing.
I know.
You've got a friend in us.
I know that. I know you did.
But they're both Disney references. And friend like me is perfect for this segment.
It is better.
These are friends.
But we are
And
switching it up.
And they're like us.
I get it. You're right.
Thank you.
Better.
Thank you.
But it is not what we did for 2 weeks.
I love being told I'm right.
No, it was, you got a friend in us, because, that's where I stole that from.
Well, this is better.
Oh, I know.
Well, this is better.
So we're just changing it like it never happened, Karla.
Why don't I just acknowledge it, and then Stacy will feel better? Should I just acknowledge it?
No, I really don't know that I will. I don't know that it'll make me feel better. Just keep going. This can be our bloopers.
Yes.
Killed it.
It's going to be a mess.